Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the 2020 version of Coffee and Colorful Conversation. I hope everyone's having a great day. I was able to do a coffee talk on New Year's Day to bring in the new year. And this is only our second one of 2020. I unfortunately am not feeling well today, so my voice will be extra annoying, but I will try not to cough and clear my throat too much. So for some reason, I don't think my reminder went out. So hopefully some of you will be joining me live. I always get more energy when people are on here live. But I wanted to talk about, speaking of the word energy, how going into any situation, how you're feeling towards it and the story that you have in your head about how it's going to play out can be the difference between you having a great experience and a not so great experience. So my husband and I were leaving beautiful sunny Florida to go to really cold right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for the Christmas holidays to visit family. And when we were planning our trip, we decided, we're going to go the day before Christmas Eve, stay through Christmas, and then come back to Florida and get nice and warm. And then we were invited to an absolutely spectacular wedding in New Jersey, right outside of New York on January 4th. So we kind of were like, do we stay the whole time and go to the wedding, or do we fly home for Christmas, fly back, fly to the wedding, fly back? So it made more sense to stay. But with that decision came, where are we going to stay? We're going to spend money on a hotel. We don't have a home there anymore. Our daughter lives there, but she's in a 1-bedroom apartment. So how much is too much time to overstay your welcome with family? So all of these things were all swirling around in my head. And again, our story of what we think is going on is usually most likely different than the story of the people that you're going to see and you're going to interact with. And everybody's walking around with the story in their head. And it gets to the point where it's like, what is real? What is the real situation? As we all know, the past is the past, the future is unknown, there's only the present. So whatever you're thinking in your mind at that time is your reality. So I have a friend here in Florida named Colleen who is attending my retreat in February as a guest speaker. She's going to do some speaking about energy and about how we enter into a room and the energy that we bring to it and how we can shift our mood just with different things that you can do that are kind of ritual, like cross your hands like this and do different tapping. And it sounds woo-woo and crazy, but I did some work with her a year ago and it really made me feel light and better. It's kind of like a version of Reiki, but a little bit different. And I was leaving her office the first time that I did it. And she was apologizing up and down that she was putting me out into rush hour traffic. She said, I want you to do this exercise before you leave because I'm, afraid that you're going to get stuck in traffic and I want you to clear the energy. So she had me use my hands and do this little thing and say, I clear before me, I clear behind me, I clear beside me. And I said it like 4 times. And I literally got in my car and drove straight up the expressway with 0 traffic. I was able to get a parking spot where I normally can't get a parking spot. And I thought, this woman's on to something. This is like the real deal. So her and I had lunch right before I left to go home to visit for the holidays. And she said, I would love to do some work with you around your anxiety for this visit. You have a lot going on. You're going to be sleeping in all different places. I can tell that you're anxious about it. Are you up for it? She said, but don't plan anything the next day because you're going to be exhausted because it's a total shift in your thoughts and in your energy. And I was like, okay. So I didn't wear eye makeup because I knew I was going to cry. And I drove about 40 minutes to see her. And I can't even explain what she does because it's really hard to explain, but she's bringing out the deep-rooted mindset and thoughts from your childhood that create the decisions and the thoughts that you have today that you don't even realize you have. So I know that I'm a control freak. I'm very well aware of it. And when we were talking through that, I said, wherever I'm staying, if the air conditioner or the heater makes like a clicking noise, or it's too hot or it's too cold or it's too loud, or, we're in a hotel and there's slamming doors and, all those things you have zero control over, that really can make or break my time, because I feel so out of control that I feel uncomfortable the entire time, and nobody wants to feel that uncomfortable. So whatever she did to me, I stayed in a not great situation. I mean, it was a nice, comfortable hotel, but my husband snores and he kept me up the whole time. But I didn't wake up angry. I didn't carry it through my entire day. And the more I got through each part of the visit that normally would put me into a mood and make me dread doing it, every situation was now pleasant. And it was all through the work that her and I did ahead of time. So why am I telling you all this? Because I was behind the chair for 33 years, and I pretty much ruined every Christmas that I ever had from 19 to 51 with having clients overstep boundaries, push to be squeezed in, just one more, staying really late, being completely exhausted and usually sick every Christmas, with trying to make everybody else happy. In the meantime, making myself and my own little family unit not happy. So I'm sure most of you are feeling that right now. If you're behind the chair right now, you're like, oh, thank God the holidays are over. Thank God I survived. But then we roll into, where is everybody? Crickets, right? So right now you have all this time free, and you can go shopping and you can go buy wrapping paper and you can go to the food store. You have all this time to do all the things that you no longer need to do. So people will say, when I'm talking to them now, I can see things so clearly now that I'm not in it. Now that I'm not behind the chair, I can see my former staff. I see them squeezing people in and, I'll stay late. I'll come in early. I see them doing all the things that I did. I see that their kids are little. I see the patterns. I reach out to other salon owners, and there's one in particular that I keep trying to help because I see so much of myself in her. She may even be on here. I reach out to her constantly and she doesn't even reply because I'm poking her where she knows she doesn't want to be poked. So I was that person and I didn't want to hear it. But now that I've seen the other side of it and how amazing life can be when you set up a few boundaries, simple boundaries of what works for you and what doesn't. We all know ourselves. Like if I don't have coffee by 9 a.m., don't come near me the entire day because I have a headache, blinding headache. It comes up the back of my neck into the base of my skull, throbbing. My eyes hurt. Everything hurts if I don't have caffeine by 9 o'clock. And all the naturopathic people that are, into organic, they're like, oh, that's bad. Stop drinking coffee. And I'm like, you know what? I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't steal. I don't do anything bad. I love my morning coffee. So I'm not willing to give it up. Now, here's the difference. I said, I am not willing, nor am I interested in giving it up. If I said I can't stop drinking coffee, that's not true. So every time you hear yourself saying, I can't, know that you can, but you're choosing not to. So, I'm speaking with someone at this beautiful, amazing wedding that we went to. It was over the top. It had to be 200 or more per plate to feed us. I mean, the food was like, it was like Beauty and the Beast. They just kept coming with more and more food, the appetizers, the entree, it was insane. And it was beautiful. But we saw people we haven't seen in a while. And the theme was, must be nice to be retired in Florida. Must be nice to be able to be warm all the time. And I'm kind of looking at them like, I'm not retired. I started a whole brand new business at 52 years old because I moved to Florida. Brand new, totally unknown, no parachute, no net. They don't know that, right? So everybody just knows the social media version of you when they haven't seen you. So they're like, I could, I would love to do that, but I can't. And as soon as I hear that can't, I'm like, okay, what's the reason that you can't? Oh, my family and this and that. And my husband and I were home for 2 weeks. We saw my family Christmas Eve. That was it. We didn't get 8 million invitations. Oh, come for brunch, come for dinner, come tomorrow. Let's all meet here. People are busy. They have their own lives. So they may be hurt when you make a decision that's best for you in the moment of that decision. But moving forward, how much time do you really spend with them face to face? You may talk on the phone, you may do the obligatory Mother's Day, the holidays, but really in your everyday life, how much does where you work, where you live, how much you work, what your hours are, how much does your life really affect the people that you are caring so much about their opinion? And some of those people whose opinion you're caring about too much is your clients. I was in the salon one day while I was home working. So if it were me, I said goodbye to all my clients 1 year ago, last Christmas. January 5th was exactly a year since I left the salon and moved to Florida. So I see my people who I bent over backwards for, came in early, stayed late, did the whole thing, felt like we were friends. And I'm in there doing hair, and you would think, they didn't know I was going to be there, that it would be like, oh my gosh, you're here. What's going on? How's flat? They barely even skipped a beat in walking back to the chair that used to be my chair to sit and have their hair done by the person who took my place. They're perfectly happy with how she's doing their hair. And I am like invisible. And I'm laughing to myself because I'm thinking, I'm reflecting, because it's my story in my head. I'm reflecting, how many times did I come in early for her? How many times did I squeeze her in? How many times did I not charge her for those face framing highlights because we were friends? Now she's in that person's chair. She doesn't want to know, how's Florida? How are you? What's going on? Nothing. And I'm not telling you this to have a pity party for myself. I'm telling you because I was you, and I really believed that these people cared about me as a human being, not just a technician placing a product on their head. So once you understand that, I want you to start 2020 strong, because I had 2 incidences on this visit that the old me would have handled differently. One of them was I was teaching a class, and I had quoted the salon an hourly rate, and they asked to have the class from 10 to 2. I felt like it wasn't enough time, and I'm ready to stay and do as long as I need to do for everybody. But people that showed up for the class had it in their head it's over at 2, so they start packing up right at 2. The diehards that were passionate about finishing and learning the rest stayed on an extra 30 minutes. So when the salon owner said, oh, how much do I owe you? The old me would have kept it to the price that it was originally quoted for that time frame. But I got there a half hour early. I stayed a half hour later. So I charged her exactly what it should be. I know this salon owner, we're friendly, but this is business. I was there to teach a class. So I was very proud of myself. And my daughter commented when we got out to the car, Mom, I'm really proud of you. You charged what you were supposed to charge. So, it gets easier setting boundaries and doing what you're really supposed to do, because here's what happens. If I didn't charge that extra money, I would have gotten in my car and I would have been mad at myself, and I would have held on to that being mad the rest of the day, the next day, and maybe the next time I go to book a class, I might not even book it because I'm like, oh, it's not worth my time. It's not enough money. It's easier to just do hair behind the chair, because education is not as lucrative as being behind the chair. I can tell you that 100%. It looks very glamorous to be up on those stages, but it does not pay the bills the way being behind the chair does. So it's my job to set those boundaries and to dig in and do what I need to do. So part of the monthly membership that I absolutely love and is my favorite thing is having the featured guest artists in my Hair Color Simplify or my Hair Color Secrets Insider group. We have a monthly guest each month that shares what they do in the industry, what they have to do with the industry. And I try to change it up a lot because I don't want anyone to get bored. So someone who really impressed me early on, who was on my radar from Facebook, was Kim Moore from Head Shape Matters. My friend took the cutting course and loved it. She said, Elaine, you've never seen a haircut like this. It is completely different than anything that we've ever learned. And we both went to Vidal Sassoon. We're very structured. We're really good at cutting hair and having it be long lasting, filled in and beautifully when it grows out. So we're both, we're considered older in the industry, and we both are so passionate about learning everything that is put in front of us. So she went to Head Shape Matters, and it's the first time that her and I did not attend something together because I no longer cut. So as much as I was intrigued by Kim and her system, I thought, I don't want to put a lot of time and energy into a cutting system when I specialize in color. But I've been very, anxiously following along my friend's path with doing these haircuts, as well as Kim's journey as an online educator. When I decided that I wanted to get my information out to more people doing it in an online space, Kim and one other person were the only ones in the beauty space that were doing online education. So I went right to the source. I reached out to her. She was a total stranger. She didn't owe me anything. She didn't know me from anyone. And I said, hi, my name's Elaine. I'm an independent hair color educator. I know you do online education for cutting. Can you help me get started? I don't even know where to begin. And she held back enough, rightfully so, because it takes a long time to figure this stuff out. But she gave me enough to get me started. And I really respected that, because I'm in a position now where people will come to me and they'll say, oh my gosh, how did you do it? Where do I start? And I, being a giving person that I am, I want to simplify it for them, and I want to give them the cliff notes and have them skip to where I am. But I also know that it cost me over $20,000 to learn all the bits and pieces with the tech and how to put it all together. And then I'm like, well, why should I give them the key to the castle when I had to struggle to get through it? So there's a little bit of that, but I also am the type of person that wants to help. So I respect Kim for that. And I hope that people that come to me respect me for not giving it all away, but of course, helping someone get started. So she was my interview this week as a guest artist in the program. And the thing that impressed me the most with her was when we were speaking during the interview, and I said, how did you even figure out how to use math for haircutting class? Like, I avoid math at all costs. I hate math. I always have. It's never come easy to me. And she said, you know what? It doesn't come to me either. It's just something that I was able to see. She has such a passion for the why and understanding why hair does what it does, that it helped her create this whole hair cutting system that I hope schools will adopt and have people start from beauty school understanding, because you could do the same. We're all taught the 90 degrees, take it straight up as your guide, and then bring everything 90 degrees to follow through the head. But my shape of my head is completely different than yours and hers and his and hers. So the hair is going to lay differently. So she kept seeing that, and she was a hair cutting educator, and she could have just ignored it like the rest of everybody else and said, it is what it is. It's going to look a little different. Hair's different. She wanted to get to the why. So she dug in so deep that she actually got to the point in this system where she has a big why that she hasn't answered. So she just enrolled in college. She's going back to college to understand the math to answer her why. And we both were in tears in the interview. I was like, I am blown away by that, because so many people would get to the point in their career that Kim is. She has a successful system. She has, I think, at least 30 people training under her that go all throughout the country and teach this system. She's very successful. She could easily push a button and put everything on autopilot and just hang out with her grandchildren. But today, she is starting her first day in college. After being a grandmom and all these years of success, she has a why that's an itch that she needs scratched. And I have such respect for that. I said to her, I don't even think I could pass the test to get into a college right now. It's been so long since I did math. I don't know how much math is involved in the entrance exam, but I know what she's doing, I would not want to do. I didn't say I can't do, because I know I could, but I don't want to. For her, it was a burning passion. For me, it's something else. So whatever your passion is and whatever your why is, don't stop until you feel that passion. I was great at cutting hair. Everyone loved my haircuts. I didn't love doing it. So I decided to specialize in color. Did I get a lot of backlash? Absolutely. I had people who I cut from their first haircut at 2 years old all the way to their wedding day that I was saying to them, I'm no longer cutting hair. So-and-so is going to cut your hair. I'm going to do your color. I lost a lot of clients. I had a lot of crap thrown at me, but I had never been happier once I was free of doing haircuts, blow dries, waxes, makeup, updos, all the things. I was over it. So wouldn't you rather have somebody super passionate coloring your hair and someone super passionate cutting your hair than someone who's dreading the haircut and just getting through it in order to do the color? That made sense to me. So I'm not saying everybody needs to specialize, because I know a lot of hairstylists who love everything, and you should continue to do everything if you love it. But if you have that ick feeling when you see that kid's haircut on your book, which I did, or, the 3 men's haircuts that are all jammed into one spot, because yes, they're quicker, but the men these days are pickier than the women, so they want a certain thing and you need to spend more time with them. So I also want to bring the why into your hair color behind the chair. I want you to understand why you're using what you're using on the hair. It's one thing to do a formula. Say you do 7N and 7CR on someone and it turns out beautifully. And you're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I need to remember that for the next time I'm in that situation. And then you're in an almost the same situation and you use it again and it works out. Just because the client really wasn't that picky. It didn't work out because it was exactly what she wanted. It worked out because she wasn't that picky. So rather than fall into that, that's my new magic formula, I want you to understand, sit back and say, why did it look different on Jill than it did on Marie? What was the difference? Was that her natural level that was different? Was the percentage of gray that was different? Or was it simply the density of her hair? A lot of people aren't thinking about those things when they're coloring hair. Thin, fine, see-through hair and thick, coarse, massive, curly hair is not going to take a color mixture the same. Are you realizing that when you're mixing? Are you thinking it through? And are you really understanding why you're doing what you do? I would venture to say that 80% of the people watching this right now are like, do I think about that? Because we're on autopilot. And I want 2020 for you to not be on autopilot. I want you to have new guests in your chair, because we're on the top of our game when we have a new guest. We're a lot more comfortable when Nancy, who's been coming for 20 years, comes. We don't put as much makeup on, and we might throw our hair in a ponytail because we're like, oh, Nancy knows that I'm tired on Tuesdays, or whatever it is. You take advantage of that. But when you have a new client, you tend to dress up more like it's a first date. So I want you to have more clients. I want you to understand more boundaries, and I want you to understand hair color better. So it's not too late. I see Jordan popped on here. Jordan from Real Beauty Bosses and Salon. He has 2 different sites. I think Salon, Professional. I'm sorry, Jordan. I'm so bad. There's so many ways to find you. But Jordan and I are doing a free masterclass this evening. I just signed up for Zoom to allow more people because we had way over the amount that we're allowed to have. And now I opened it up for more people. So please, I'm going to add the link after I hang up here. Please click if you haven't already. It's totally free. It's tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Jordan is going to do a presentation on creative, low and no cost ways to get new butts in your chair. And if we have enough time, I'm also going to talk about the top 5 things that we learned about hair color that simply are not true and not serving us. So it's going to be a great training. It's tonight at 7. We are making an incredible offer at the end of the training where him and I are making an offer that we've never made before and probably will not make again for the rest of the year. It's a really, really great way to start your 2020. So I hope that you guys will join us. I also have a few spots left in my pop-up highlighting class. You've probably seen different ads floating around on Facebook. That is on January 12th. It's all virtual. People are asking, where is it? How do I get there? It's all online. The highlighting class and the Jordan collaboration class is all on your computer, your phone, your iPad, wherever you have internet access, you're able to join both of those events. So if you need more information about either, reach out to me, but I will put the link in here in the comments as well as in the title of this coffee chat. So guys, shake things up for 2020. Stop. When you catch yourself saying, I can't, I want you to think hard, sit with yourself and say, is it because I'm not willing to do the work that it takes to make that change? Or am I physically not able to do it? There are going to be, I'm never going to be an Olympic skier because I hate the snow and I'm terrified to get on skis. But again, it's a choice. I could learn how to ski, but I choose not to because I hate the cold. So can't usually means won't. And think about that when you catch yourself saying, I can't, make the decisions whether you feel like you can or not. And when you see the other side of it, how happy you will be and how unaffected everyone around you that you thought would be affected is, you will love 2020 as much as I loved 2019. It was one of the best years of my life. I felt so free. I felt so happy. I woke up every morning to sunrise and palm trees. I've wanted that my whole life, and I can it myself into sticking around at least 7 years longer than I need it to. So you cannot get back time. So if there's something you're putting off because you think you can't, you really can, and I hope you will. I'll see you guys next week.